Elio came, they had their attorneys there. You guys had a problem that they were possibly breaking the law in that they're selling cars but don't have a dealership in Louisiana. Is that the issue?
That is part of the issue, in that the Louisiana Motor Vehicle Commission asks that if you either manufacture or distribute cars, that you have a manufacturer's license and that you would have a dealer's license, or your distribution network would be licensed. That's how we protect everybody with the licenses. And they actually were found that in violation, they do not have either of those licenses.
Isn't this kind of, at the end of the day, though, piling on poor Mr. Elio, who's never produced a car and most likely never will?
I can't tell you whether he will or won't. They seem to have the intentions that they definitely want to, and he evidently has a great vision. They have capital constraints. All we ask is that the Motor Vehicle Commission is that they adhere to the laws that everybody else does in the state of Louisiana regarding either manufacturing or selling vehicles.
Did his lawyers at any point, speaking for Mr. Elio, say, maybe we'll give the money back?
At this point in time, they don't get into their reservation. They view their system as they take reservations for vehicles, both refundable and non-refundable. And we felt that they needed to segregate the refundable deposits and keep them in a separate arrangement so that if something did happen, those could be refunded to consumers.
So, Mr. Keith, he's been fined. You guys have fined him $545,000.
The check's in the mail, right?
How enforceable is that? I mean, are you guys the cops?
Well, we are a sanctioned body that can collect money, and we're, appointed by the governor. But the long and short is I don't know if he'll pay. He certainly has means to appeal. And we ask that he tries to comply with the situation so that he gets the proper licenses and everything else. And we'll see what the future holds. We can't speak for him.
Were there other issues with Elio other than this one? I mean, I know y'all obviously have concerns about how he's going to do business, that he does it the way other car dealers do it. Were there other issues that came up too?
No, this hearing, although there were issues that might have been spoken about on his part, the only issues that the commission has with him is he is not licensed either as a manufacturer or as a dealer.
And they were claiming this was not a down payment to buy a car. This was a down payment to buy a place in line.
Correct. But they also did admit that part of the money that you do put down goes toward the vehicle, which is construed as a deposit, acting as if you are a dealer to sell a vehicle, to get your spot in line, if you call it, reservation deposit. It gets kind of blurry there, and actively pursuing that if you would like an Elio, here is your procedure to do so.
Mr. Keith, pardon me, when Mr. Elio was here a few months ago and he had his press conference, his attitude could be interpreted by some to be a little haughty. Did you get the sense that was that the attitude of his legal representation yesterday, as in, you want it, come and get it?
No, I will say this. They also had their Vice President of Government Affairs, and they did a very good job in presenting their situation. They have as a collective group, they have a vision to produce a vehicle that is for the masses, that gets great fuel economy, and so on and so forth. And of course, we in North Louisiana would love to have somebody that employs a lot of people and brings economic development. They are a visionary in that way. They have capital constraints. Of a large nature.
Keith, could you see what happens here is that a local dealer, let's say yours, y'all take the Elio under your wing and say, we'll distribute it and you're going to sell them at your lot. Would that solve this problem?
No, they need to first get a manufacturer's license. To be able to manufacture their product, you have to be licensed and comply with all that. Then they can proceed, after they've done that, to go get their distribution network. Just
to clarify, you're on this board, you're on this commission that has fined Elio Motors $545,000. Isn't that kind of judge and jury and executioner all into one ball?
Well, the way that the commission is set up is you are notified if you violate the laws. If you violate the laws, we review. You are entitled to a hearing. They come in, both sides present. They were found to be in violation of the two laws of both not having a manufacturer's license and or a dealer license. And in regards to that, because of the time frame that they have not had these licenses for, which is in excess of several years, that is where the fine gets.
So what kind of time frame do they have to pay before legal before you take them to court?
Well, we have asked that they correct their situations in the next 60 days. They need to correct their situations, apply for these licenses, and get the ball rolling down that path. And whether they pay, I can't tell you. Whether they appeal, I can't tell you. But they have legal means to appeal this decision.